In this video, I'm going to show you how you can grow long, healthy hair faster by avoiding these 5 huge mistakes, which are actually pretty popular. By the way, my hair is in my favorite kind of twists of the week. This is what my hair looks like when it's out. If you don't know me, my name is Angelica. I post videos twice a week, every single week, all about growing long, healthy hair. Occasionally, I post a little extra bonus fun video. Consider subscribing. The subscription button is right down there, as well as the bell icon. Make sure you hit the bell so you get notifications every single time I post. The first one might be like, why are you telling me to do this? It is to stop using all the DIYs you see on YouTube, especially things that are not oils. I think oils are the easiest DIYs. We'll get to specifically what kind of oils later on in the video. But oils are the easiest DIY because you could literally use one oil today. You make it one time, it will last you like 3 months. However, the DIYs I'm talking about are the ones that they pop up on YouTube like every day. Use this once and your hair will change overnight. Use this once a week and you will have amazing hair growth. Maximum hair growth if you use this aloe vera mask, this moringa and whatever. It is totally fine to use DIYs. I myself love DIYs, especially rice water. I found the rice water. I experimented with a few other DIYs and nothing matched up to the rice water. So I'm like, you know what, this is working. I'm sticking to it and I keep it in my routine for long enough to see if it's actually doing something good or not. Problem is that we are all so desperate to grow our hair as fast as possible. Like if we could wake up tomorrow with hair down our backs, that would be ideal. I'm not saying ignore the DIYs. If your hair already likes avocado or banana or rice water or whatever, a DIY that incorporates those things, sure, you can try it. However, don't be like, I'm using a banana mask this week, egg mask next week, rice water the other week, maybe multiple DIYs in a day. You're like, I'm going to use moringa oil, coffee oil. Then I'm going to do a hair mask that has banana and avocado and honey. Detangle my hair with aloe vera. If one of them works amazingly well on your hair and you've been doing this routine of using a bunch of things for like 3 months, you're not going to know what it is. And most of the time, it's one thing. Your routine makes the biggest difference. So if you're going to try something, give it a fair chance. Use it for at least a month. Like once a week or however often you're supposed to use it. If your hair doesn't like it, stop using it. You don't even need DIYs in your routine. If you've tried a bunch of them and they don't work, just purchase products that are perfectly formulated and use those products in your hair. Also, DIY cocktailing, like I mentioned, is a very bad idea because natural products are highly unstable. Just because they are not chemically formulated doesn't mean they're not chemicals. And if you mix them together, you're gonna get excessive damage. It might not happen immediately. It might not happen with everything you mix, but unless you're a chemist who knows the exact ingredients and measurements to mix things together, I would suggest just use things separately. Let's say you're allergic to eggs. Can I still use the egg if I'm allergic to it? No, nothing is worth it. Even if it would make your hair grow 5 inches overnight, if you're allergic to the moringa, just ignore it. Move on to the next thing. This next one is something that makes me so angry because I know so many people online and in person who are always complaining about their edges. And these people are constantly damaging their edges. Now, this is specific to the new trends I keep seeing a little bit on TikTok, but mostly on Instagram. And there's 3 different ones. The first one is using heat to style your edges. Now, I'll tell you why this one is extremely tempting to a lot of people. Not to me, because I don't play with heat damage like that. But the reason why it is tempting is because your hairline looks beautiful, okay? Your edges just look like super sleek and like you just kind of woke up and your edges just kind of mess around like that, like your hair just curls like that because most people like just gel down the base and then the edge will just like curl. Some people have no baby hair or they want more baby hair, so they'll do like a little half an inch gap and trim their hair so they have baby hairs. Now, if you want to do that, that's perfectly fine. You can do it if you want the style. However, that curling technique, while it does look beautiful and you may be tempted to do it more and more often, you don't see the damage until it happens like it's overnight. Like you could literally do this every day for 2 months and be like, wow, my hair is way stronger than I thought, because when I use heat on any other parts of my hair, it gets damaged quickly. But for some reason, my edges are just looking good. And then one day you wake up and you're like, oh my God, how come all my hair looks like fried and it feels so hard and dry and it's breaking off? Or you just start to develop bald patches. This is one of those things that will hit you in a couple of months. If you have really weak hair or you're using excessive damage and not using heat protectant on your edges or anything like that, even in 2 weeks, you could have severe damage. When I was relaxed at a certain point, I used to flat iron my hair almost every other day, and I was like, my hair is strong, it looks great, I can straighten it all the time, and was relaxed so I couldn't see the heat damage. And then eventually my hair just started going haywire. Like, this was before I started any healthy hair journey. The second one is gluing on the baby hairs. Like, this one I think I've seen more on TikTok. People have been making jokes about catfishing and going out, and everyone's like, oh my god, you've got such long luscious hair, because they put their little fro into like a high ponytail, they put a hairpiece, and then they stick on little curls on their hairline. Again, looks very beautiful, makes the blend of everything you're putting together really well. I have no problem. However, I've actually never seen anyone melt it down with like a remover or an oil. If you remove it with an oil or something like that, it could be less damaging. You could do it occasionally. But what I see a lot of people do is they literally, done. They rip it off. And every time you rip it off, it might just rip off 2 or 3 tiny bits of your edges, and eventually your hairline is gonna be there. And then you'll be sticking more and more hair, and your hairline will be going back and back and back, and you start to get to the point where you get traction alopecia, irreversible damage. You have been taking out your hair with glue. Now, this last one for your hairline, I saved it for the last because it is the worst one, and it's just popped up maybe the past 2 weeks, but I saw one person do it, and then now I keep seeing a bunch of people being like, oh, this is a good idea, let me try this. And this, if you haven't seen it, I'm gonna explain it. You get a frontal, whether it's an old damaged one or a new one. If you've got money like that, the most sense would be to use an old one, and maybe your edges are a little damaged, not looking their best, so you're like, let me make them worse. And then you get your little strip of your frontal, glue it down to the front of your hairline, and then lay the baby hairs and everything from the wig, and then it just blends with your hair, and bam, you've got a new hairline. Looks pretty good, honestly. Looks really good. Every time you take it off, every time you put it on, even if you take it off with the glue or oil or water properly, if you do it very often, it's still going to damage your hairline. It's going to damage your edges, and if you're using it because you have damaged edges, you're not helping the situation. Of course, you can do any of these 3 methods to make yourself feel good for that one day. But if you want to feel good all the time and actually grow your edges back in, I do have a full playlist all about how to grow your hairline back. So I'll link that in the pinned comment and in the description box. But you can start by avoiding these 3 things. Also, if you're thinking, well, the last one doesn't make sense because I actually do not touch my edges, as I have a larger forehead and I can put the entire frontal on my forehead without touching my hairline. I know this is a hair care video, but do you care about your skin? Because putting glue on your forehead every single day is also going to cause damage. You're either going to get like some sort of pimples, redness, skin barrier damage, and that takes a long time to fix. So if you care about your skin, even though you're thinking you're protecting your hair, still you're damaging your skin. So it's a lose-lose situation, okay? So this one is going to seem like it makes no sense as well, but stick with me here. Taking hair vitamins and biotin, whether it's one or the other or both, doesn't actually do that much for hair growth. It can, and if it's a massive growth spurt, like let's say I've seen people who this has happened to, like they start taking biotin and within a month or 2 months, biotin or a hair growth supplement, their hair grows like unbelievably fast. This is actually not a good sign. It's good that you got all those inches of hair really fast. Perhaps there is 1 or 2 exceptional vitamins that can do this no matter what. It is possible. I don't know of any specifically. If you know it, I want to try it. But most of the time, if you experience extreme hair growth like that from a vitamin, it means that your diet is horrible. It means that your hair has been severely lacking those vitamins, that just taking the supplement for a month drastically increased the amount of nutrients to your hair, because your body's now like, oh, we've got all this extra nutrients that we can send to the hair that wasn't there before. So maybe you haven't been having enough iron, you haven't been eating enough protein, because protein makes the biggest difference with your hair. You haven't been drinking enough water because your hair is dehydrated. Because I have noticed a lot of people, when they take biotin, because it's water soluble, most people will start drinking a lot of water, like 2 liters of water a day, because if not, you actually start to get pimples or any kind of bad reaction on your skin. So people usually drink a lot of water to flush that out. So now you have extra vitamins and you have extra water. What I would suggest is, first, improve your diet. Supplements are not replacements. You can't say, I'm going to have biotin, so I don't need any mushrooms, I don't need any meat, I'm going to take an iron supplement. So now I can just eat bread with some butter on it. So I have a little bit of carbs, a little bit of fat, and then I'm getting my iron and all my other vitamins that I would get from fruits from vitamins. It doesn't work like that. It could work, but it's a horrible idea. Get all your nutrients from food, and certain things are difficult. Like for me, I want to start taking protein powder because even when I eat like to the point where I can't eat anymore, I usually still don't have as much protein as I would like in my diet. I'm thinking of maybe a couple days, especially when I'm lifting heavy weights, to start eating more protein in the form of supplements. But for now, what I do is I make sure I have protein at every part of my day. I do take an iron supplement because sometimes, even when I eat as much as I can, I don't have enough iron in my diet. So the iron is just going to help. It's like a little booster shot to what you already have, not a replacement. Also, biotin is something that your body will not store. It's not like storing fat. So if you're getting 100% of the biotin you need in a single day, if you take a biotin supplement, it's actually useless because your body sees it as excess. So you're just literally gonna flush everything out when you pee. Okay, the fourth one is what I mentioned at the beginning, oils and butters. This is very popular, and I see so many videos, especially popping up on TikTok, where I see someone with the beaters or a blender or some kind of mix, and they're like, this is my at-home butter, and this is going to grow your hair past waist length. Oils and butters do not grow your hair. Oils and butters are not moisturizers, they are oils. Even a butter is just like a whipped oil. It's like solid coconut oil or the butter that you put on bread. If you melt it in a pan, it's just going to be oil. It's not going to turn into some sort of cream. Your hair might even feel a little bit damp and a little bit moisturized, and it does have temporary moisture. However, when that dries out, your hair is going to be progressively getting drier and drier and drier. And if you co-wash or you don't use shampoos very often, even after you wash your hair, there's still going to be a slight barrier between oil and moisturizers and water from penetrating your hair shaft. So eventually it's just going to keep building up, and you're going to get to the stage where it feels like you're moisturizing your hair, but it still feels dry. I love oils, lighter oils, and I focus them on my scalp. Like the moringa oil I was talking about, this goes on my scalp like every other day. Essential oils have a bigger impact, but of course you always have to dilute them into a carrier oil. Carrier oils are also amazing. I have a video all about oils as well, so you can check that out if you like. Butters, if you want to use them or you need to use them, I would suggest on your hairline, because most of us wash our face twice a day, possibly with a foaming face wash. There's a very high chance that the very edges of your hair literally get washed every single day, so you can get away with moisturizing and sealing technically every single day if you wanted to, but just don't use like heavy oils and butters. And if you put butters on your scalp, they can clog your follicles, they can stunt your hair growth. It is really not ideal. Not to mention, a lot of the products that we use in our hair, like deep conditioners, leave-in conditioners, moisturizers, they have oils formulated into them, so it's not like you're losing out on the benefits of oils. And if you're going to put it on your hair, you're going to have to wash your hair in the week when you use those oils. You have to wash it with a shampoo and thoroughly get everything off your hair. After you watch this video, you might be like, but the butter works for me though. Girl or guy, if the butter works for you and what I'm saying sounds like it makes no sense, by all means, continue doing what you're doing. This is just a precaution. Okay, so the fifth one is another one that is very important, because on every hair growth video I have ever seen on YouTube, there is at least one comment, and there's usually like 20, but I'm just saying a minimum that I have seen of someone saying, your hair is just long because of genetics. Here's the thing. Some people might not be doing as much as you are doing, and their hair just looks amazing. It's kind of similar to skin. Some people, like a lot of guys, will literally wash their face with like a 5-in-1 shampoo or something, and their skin is like sparkly, clear, glowing. And then you're using like a full 10-step skincare routine and your skin is still damaged. There is some form of genetics that goes into it. Now, here's the thing. Someone's hair might grow an inch more than you every month, and yours only grows like half an inch. Other people's genetics have nothing to do with you. You are born with what you have. Everybody is dealt the hand they get. The only thing you can do is maximize with what you have. Being negative is only going to stunt your hair growth because it's going to cause stress. You're probably going to neglect your hair because you think everything is out of your control. Sure, it may be slower than the person you admire most, but it's growing. Hair is always growing. No matter how slow, it's always growing. So if you think your genetics are stopping you from going far, focus on your ends, and your entire routine. The chance is your hair might just be breaking as fast as it is growing. Or sometimes you might even be like, oh wow, my hair has grown longer, and then it goes back to how it used to be because you're making the same mistakes over and over and over again. The other thing is, you can't just look at someone and say that it's genetics, because most likely you don't spend time with that person all the time. And maybe they're one of those people who comes on YouTube and they do crazy things with their hair, you know. They try out like different kind of heat tools and they use crazy kind of DIYs in their hair. And maybe that person posts like 2 videos a month. 24 times in the entire year, they did something crazy to their hair. The other 300 and something days of the year, they take immaculate care of their hair so they can afford to do something crazy and it can withstand it, and their hair is still growing and flourishing. But because you just think they do everything that you see, you just assume this person does crazy things to their hair all the time, yet I take care of my hair very well and their hair is still growing. It must just be genetics. Hit my face right there to subscribe if you didn't in the beginning. Watch the 2 videos on the side of the screen. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.